In November 1917, the suffragette movement reached a critical climax, capturing global attention. Women, after years of relentless campaigning, were on the precipice of gaining the right to vote in the United States. In this video, we'll talk about the struggles the Silent Sentinels went through in the fight for women's rights to vote. Stay with us to the end to find out how their effort changed America forever. Let's get into it. In July 1848, Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Lucretia Mott organized the first Women's Rights Convention in Seneca Falls, New York. The Seneca Falls Convention produced a list of demands called the Declaration of Sentiments. Modeled on the Declaration of Independence, it called for broader educational and professional opportunities for women and the right of married women to control their wages and property. After this historic gathering, women's voting rights became a central issue in the emerging debate about women's rights in the United States. Many of the attendees to the convention were also abolitionists whose goals included universal suffrage, the right to vote for all adults. In 1870, this goal was partially realized when the 15th Amendment to the Constitution, granting black men the right to vote, was ratified. Women suffragists' vehement disagreement over supporting the 15th Amendment, however, resulted in a schism that split the women's suffrage movement into two new suffrage organizations that focused on different strategies to win women voting rights. The Second National Suffrage Organization, established in 1869, was the American Woman's Suffrage Association, founded by Lucy Stone, Julia Ward Howe, and Thomas Wentworth Higginson. The AWSA supported the 15th Amendment and protested the confrontational tactics of the NWSA. The AWSA concentrated on gaining women's access to the polls at state and local levels, in the belief that victories there would gradually build support for national action on the issue. While a federal women's suffrage amendment was not their priority, an 1871 petition asking that women in D.C. and the territories be allowed to vote and hold office, from AWSA leadership to Congress, reveals its support for one. The tactics used by suffragists went beyond petitions and memorials to Congress. Testing another strategy, Susan B. Anthony registered and voted in the 1872 election in Rochester, New York. As planned, she was arrested for knowingly, wrongfully, and unlawfully voting for a representative to the Congress of the United States. She was convicted by the state of New York and fined $100, which she insisted she would never pay. On January 12, 1874, Anthony petitioned Congress, requesting that the fine imposed upon your petitioner be remitted as an expression of the sense of this high tribunal that her conviction was unjust. In 1890, the NWSA and AWSA merged into the National American Woman Suffrage Association, NAWSA. It became the largest women's suffrage organization in the country and led much of the struggle for the vote through 1920, when the 19th Amendment was ratified. Stanton became its president, Anthony became its vice president, and Stone became chairman of the executive committee. In 1919, 1 year before women gained the right to vote with the adoption of the 19th Amendment, the NAWSA reorganized into the League of Women Voters. While these groups continued to fight politically, the Silent Sentinels, a courageous group led by Alice Paul, had campaigned tirelessly in front of the White House for 2.5 years, from January 1917 to June 1919. Their peaceful protests, however, faced harsh backlash, leading to imprisonment and widespread media coverage. Inside the walls of the Occoquan workhouse, these brave women endured unimaginable hardships. They embarked on a hunger strike, a desperate yet powerful protest against their unjust treatment and the denial of their rights. News of the hunger strike spread rapidly, igniting public outrage and sympathy. The nation began to witness the extent of these women's dedication to the cause of suffrage and their willingness to sacrifice for equality. Alice Paul, a prominent leader, became emblematic of this struggle. Her resolve and courage highlighted the movement's spirit, inspiring countless others to join the cause and fight for the vote. The brutal force-feeding of these women, intended to break their spirits, instead fueled the fire of reform. Headlines across the country questioned the morality of their treatment, sparking debates on women's rights. Public opinion began to shift as more people recognized the injustice these women faced. The Silent Sentinels' plight and determination forced many to reconsider the necessity of women's suffrage. As the month unfolded, pressure on the government intensified. Lawmakers, unable to ignore the growing support for the suffragettes, realized that change was inevitable, paving the way for crucial legislative discussions. President Woodrow Wilson, initially resistant to the suffrage movement, found himself confronted by the persistence and bravery of the Silent Sentinels. Their plight made an indelible impact on his stance towards women's voting rights. The hunger strike and its ramifications created a sense of urgency. It underscored the immediate need for legislative change, pushing the suffrage agenda to the forefront of national conversations and political debate. By the end of November 1917, the groundwork was laid for the eventual passage of the 19th Amendment. The efforts of the Silent Sentinels proved instrumental in reshaping the future of American democracy. This pivotal period in history served as a testament to the power of peaceful protest and resilience. The November events demonstrated that true change often comes from relentless determination and unwavering courage. The Silent Sentinels' actions in November 1917 were not just about securing the vote. They symbolized a broader fight for equality and justice, inspiring future generations to continue the struggle for women's rights. Reflecting on these events, we recognize the profound impact of the suffragette movement. The Silent Sentinels' bravery remains a beacon of hope, reminding us of the importance of standing up for what is right.
And if you think this video was amazing, wait until you see the next one, right here on Ancient Memoria.